and welcome to our weekly briefing brought to you by the Emergency Leadership Team. I'm Ruth Jackson, Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I'm joined by my colleagues on the Executive Policy Group, Dean Joshua Snavely from the School of Business, Mrs. Teresa Powell, Office of the President, Dean Joshua Busby, Dean of Students, and Chief Mario Holland, LUPD. In this week's webinar, we'll begin as we always do by providing a status update on COVID-19 cases. We'll talk through our COVID-19 vaccination staff survey. We'll review our COVID-19 testing protocols. We'll share important upcoming dates from our academic affairs calendar, and we will end by reflecting on resilience. I'll ask Chief Holland if he would please share our COVID-19 update. Chief?
Thank you, Dr. Jackson, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. As of noon today, March 1st, the total number of cases for the state of Oklahoma had a 1.2% weekly increase. The total number of Oklahoma active cases, which is good news, had a 15.3% weekly decrease. The total number of deaths in the state of Oklahoma, unfortunately, had a 6.5% weekly increase. For Logan County, the total number of cases was a 2.6% weekly increase. And the good news for Logan County had 11.5% weekly decrease as far as total active cases. And for Logan County, unfortunately, we had 28 deaths reported. That is an increase for our county. For the university total cases are 99. And the good news for the university as far as our active cases is a 0. Now, with that, I will pass it over to Dean Snavely. Dean?
Thanks, Chief. Great news indeed. That does mark 2 weeks now that we've seen no active cases on the Langston campus. That's something to celebrate and feel good about, and is a tribute to the good efforts of everyone on our campuses to act in a safe and healthy way. So we're excited and hope that that trend continues, and obviously we'll continue our work as an ELT to help support the community in that. We've mentioned several times in prior conversations on our daily emergency leadership team calls with various stakeholders around the campus that we're working to potentially secure the opportunity for our employees, if they so choose, to receive vaccinations. That's a process that will be coordinated by our potential vendors and with the state of Oklahoma. It's a very detailed process, and so there's lots to be done there still, so we're not quite ready for that kind of program. I want to stress any such program would be optional. It would not be required of our employees to participate in such a program, but we have had significant interest in that opportunity, and so we continue to work on that effort. And as a part of doing that, we've begun over the last week to work with the Office of Student Employee Services to conduct a potentially optional survey for our employees, because when that opportunity does become available to us, we'll need to know exactly who would be interested in this opportunity. So would ask our employees to be watching their email for that survey. It will be administered by the Office of Student Employee Services. That will allow us to understand who would be interested. Again, optional, and it's not a guarantee that once we're able to secure it that we'll have enough. There's still a lot of moving parts, but we do want to start to gauge that interest. That way, as soon as we are able to offer that kind of service, we would be able to move pretty quickly. So monitor your email. More information will be contained both in the email and in the survey. And we look forward to continued work together to hopefully make this opportunity happen, optional opportunity happen for our community. So With that, I believe I'll kick it to Mrs. Powell to talk a little bit more about testing.
Thanks, Dean Snavely. Good afternoon, everyone. So you've heard us announce this on all of our webinars, and we're going to continue to make this opportunity available to our employees as well as our students. We have testing available in the multi on the Langston campus. We are running that daily this week from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So Monday through Friday, including today, you can come by the multi and have a complimentary COVID-19 test conducted by our vendor that we have outsourced that process to, Monday through Friday, to including today on the Langston campus. For our colleagues on the Oklahoma City campus, as well as students, we will have our vendor on site to conduct that complimentary testing on Thursday of this week from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. to ensure that we are making it a convenient time for our students and our faculty and staff on that site. The Tulsa campus, we will not have testing available this week. That is due just in the reality that we're not really having in-person presence on that campus right now due to water intrusion that we're still working to clean up. So we look forward to arranging for testing in the next coming weeks for the Tulsa campus, but no testing on the Tulsa campus this week. And with that, I will ask Dean Busby, soon to be Dr. Busby, to talk more about the next phase of our testing.
Thank you, soon to be Dr. Powell. I was speaking that into existence. So thanks for that. And so good afternoon to everybody. I want to talk a little bit more about our testing requirements for the next phase of the students who are residing in campus housing. Of course, on Thursday and Friday of last week, we hosted testing for those students, which is, again, part of our ongoing efforts to mitigate the risk and minimize the risk of any spread on campus. We did this at the end of January, the last weekend in January. Of course, we did it last Thursday and Friday. And so our plan is to continue to move forward with this. And so we're planning on Thursday, March 25th and Friday, March 26th, to host our next phase of campus-wide resident testing. Of course, again, this is for our students who reside in campus housing, in all of our campus housing spaces, including our non-traditional students as well. So that goes for Centennial, Commons, Young Hall, and Scholars Inn, as well as any students that we may have in Cimarron as well. We only have a few down there, but every student that resides in campus housing will be required to participate in our surveillance testing program. And so, of course, we'll have that information that's going to go out as usual via public relations with a Calendly link that you'll be able to select the time for that. And so that information and those time slots will be forthcoming as we get closer to the end of the month. Can't believe it's already March already, but we will be giving some more information, providing some more information there as well. And so now I'll turn it over to Dr. Jackson to talk more about some important dates that are coming up.
Thank you, Dean Busby. This is a repeat from last week, but we just want to reiterate some upcoming dates. March 3rd, so Wednesday, is the last day for students to drop or withdraw from courses that are being offered as a first 8-week course. Those courses end on March 17th. For full semester courses or 16-week courses, the last day to drop or withdraw is April 16th. And that's the same date for our second 8-week courses, which begin on March 22nd. So please make sure you mark your calendars and adhere to those dates. So Dean Snavely, would you please provide some information about our student technology program?
Sure, thanks, Dr. Jackson. Just wanted to remind everyone and sort of provide a little bit of an update around the delay in the distribution. Our program does continue. We've seen additional applications come in. You'll see on the screen some of the details of the program again, and the QR code where students can put in their application for the program. Again, there's no fees associated with this program unless a student fails to return the computer in a timely manner. We had hoped to sort of finalize all the distribution last week, coming off our historic Snowmageddon that we all experienced together here at Langston. But given some limitations in staffing, we were a little more delayed than we'd hoped. So we'll start seeing the bulk of that distribution happen in the next couple of days. If you do have questions, feel free to email luelt@langston.edu. I just wanted to thank the students and those participating in the program for their patience as we've begun that initiative. This is historic for us. We've never had to participate in something like this before at this wide of a scale. And so we're building our plane as we fly it. So we appreciate the support and patience of the community as we continue through this, and look forward to making this available and supporting the students as we go forward. So that's a quick update there. I think we're now ready for our discussion facilitation led by Dr. Jackson.
Thanks, Dean. So now is the time we pause for questions. I see one question, and it says, if we can get the vaccine through our doctor's office, should we, or do you need a certain number of people to get vaccinated here at Langston University? Dean Snavely, would you address that?
Sure. We would encourage everyone who's able and interested and can secure a vaccination to do so as soon as humanly possible, with whatever arrangements you can make. So don't delay on account of our program. There's still lots of logistics that have to be lined out. There are certain requirements, and we're working with the state on those. But if a vaccine appointment is made available to you or your family or anyone for which you have responsibility, we would encourage you to do that if that's the choice you want to make, and to do that when you can. And then we'll deal with whatever our situation is when we're able to facilitate that program, if it comes together like we hope it does.
Thank you, Dean. We have another question. Someone asked if we would review the COVID cases that we shared at the beginning of the presentation. That person is interested in the Oklahoma cases. We're happy to do that. We'll share that. And just as a reminder, these webinars are always posted on D2L, as well as our COVID-19 page on our website, in case you missed this information. But you'll see on the screen our most current information about the cases in our state, in Logan County, and on our campuses.
Chief, did you want to highlight those? I'm sorry, Dr. Jackson, who did you say? My screen cut out for a second.
I actually didn't.
I know we've got a couple on the phone, so.
Good point. Good point. Chief, would you go through those again, please?
Sure, absolutely. So today at noon, the total cases for the state of Oklahoma for COVID-19 had a 1.2% weekly increase, and the total number of active cases in the state of Oklahoma had a 15.3% weekly decrease. The number of deaths in the state of Oklahoma had a 6.5% weekly increase, unfortunately. For Logan County, the total cases had a 2.6% weekly increase, and the number of Logan County active cases had a 11.5% weekly decrease. And the number of deaths in Logan County is at 28, which it increased just a little bit, but that is definitely unfortunate. And for the university, the total cases are 99, And excuse me, the outstanding news is we have 0 active cases for Langston University.
Thank you, Chief, for reviewing that. That's some great news that I don't mind hearing twice. So as we mentioned earlier, this is certainly a university-wide effort. And so we appreciate all of the precautions taken by our entire university community. So at this point, we will share our reflection on resilience brought to you today by Dean Busby. Dean?
Thanks, Doc. And before I reflect on resilience, if I could, I want to make a special plea for our students. And I see several of our students that are on today. And so thank you all for making time to join us. Hopefully you're doing this in between classes and not missing class to catch the webinar live. But I do want to make a special plea for our virtual career fair that will be taking place on this upcoming Wednesday, March 3rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Definitely want to acknowledge the work of the Division of Academic Affairs, more especially Mrs. Leonelle Thompson, who is our Director of Career and Professional Development. I want to make sure I say this right. The Director of Career and Professional Development. We have over 60 companies and organizations that will be participating in our virtual career fair. Students, this is for you. And when I look at the list, and we'll continue to push this out over the next few days, but we have everything from armed forces to Amazon to school districts to banks to, I mean, you name it, for every single one of our majors, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Department of State, U.S. Department of Justice. There's graduate schools and programs that are included there as well. And so we want to make sure that our students have access to this. And so an email has gone out campus-wide. You do have to register via handshake. That information is out there, but definitely want to acknowledge the work that a team has been doing. But also, students, we want you to show up and show out and to put your best foot forward. And if there's any way that we can assist you, please let us know. But definitely, we want to make that special plea for the virtual career fair that's coming up the day after tomorrow. Now, for me to do what I was tasked with doing is to reflect on resilience. And so we are so happy to reflect and to highlight the Langston University March and Pride Band. The Langston University March and Pride Band has been working feverishly to prepare to perform whenever and wherever they can. Of course, we know in a normal year, they would have been participating in parades. They would have been all over the country, pretty much throughout the South, Southeast, performing in Battle of the Bands and following our football team wherever they could go. But definitely happy to highlight the work that they've been doing. They've performed at our basketball game. They performed at one of our basketball games, supporting our men's and women's basketball team. And also last week, they were highlighted for Black History Month by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so the team actually performed the national anthem at the Oklahoma City Thunder game. And so they went early last week to perform. You see them there on the floor in their street shoes, right? Couldn't be out there in their, of course, in the spats and the boots to mark up the floor. But they were there earlier last week to highlight, to perform and record the national anthem. And so that national anthem was played, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the 27th. You see there are one of our drum majors, Tori Purvey. Of course, now, let me say, obviously, this is not the band performing the national anthem. They performed the national anthem, and then they had a couple other numbers as well. So they did get to do their thing. But of course, this was after they played the national anthem. But you see one of our drum majors there, Tori Purvey, along with the members of the March and Pride Band performing and doing their thing. And so the national anthem was actually recorded, yes, definitely safely, following all protocols that were set in place, not only by the institution, but also by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it was highlighted and it was premiered prior to the game on this past Saturday, February 27th. So very proud of the LU March and Pride Band. And then also on this past Saturday, I apologize. The band filled up the visiting side of the stadium and performed in the stands for our football game, our first home football game against Southwest Assemblies of God University on Saturday, and we're definitely a hit. Did very well, and so we are so proud of the work that they are doing. Our student musicians, the leadership team, Professor Gordon, Mr. Allen, as well as the support from Dr. Peterson, the Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, and working with the emergency leadership team to ensure that the LU March and Pride Band is following all of our protocols and processes that have been put in place. And so with that, once again, we are so proud of the Langston University March and Pride Band and want to continue to support them in their every endeavor. Dr. Jackson, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dean. It was wonderful to see the marching pride in the stands and supporting our students. And so congratulations and thanks for doing such a great job in such a safe way. So we've come to the end of our webinar. Thank you for joining us. Our next webinar will be held next Monday, which is March 8th, same time, 12:30. We look forward to having you join us. Between now and then, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them to luelt@langston.edu. So until next time, take care, Lions.